Thanks for staying with us. So we have with us a farmer, Christy Abdusalam. She's going to be joining the conversation. Good morning, Christy. Are you there?
Good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, good to have you on the show. So you're a farmer, and we're hearing various stories that prices at the farm, obviously, when the off-takers bring it to the cities, it's a totally different price. What's your view as regards the commodities you have, the produce you have, and what you're selling? Are you able to sell? Is it expensive? What exactly are your challenges you're going through right now?
Okay, first of all, basic challenges are transportation. Challenges like for we use a lot of irrigation, and we use drilling to irrigate the farm. So the price of fuel has to affect the price of our produce at the end of the day. And then you include the cost of transportation, which is also affected by the cost of fuel. By the time it gets to the market, the price is a bit high. And then the middleman buys it and has to also add his own, because they are also going to transport it to another location. And then the price keeps.
Okay, Christy, what would you say, right, that we can do, first of all, as farmers? Is there anything, you're in Plateau State, is there anything you feel that the government could do better? And is there anything you also think that as Nigerians, as citizens, that we're doing, that's sabotaging, you know, produce, locally grown produce, and the prices that we're getting them at?
Okay, to be honest with you, security is one of the key factors that is affecting the prices of food items in the market. Let me give you an example. For farmers of potatoes in Mangu and Bokos local government, they have been affected recently by the crisis that happened, and not being able to go to the farm to harvest their produce or to farm. At the end of the day, it drives the prices of potatoes up. So a bag that you could have bought for 15, 17,000 before, right now you're buying it for 40-something thousand. Because they can't even go to the market, they can't go to the farm. So that is key. That's something that government has to do. The government has to look into the situation in a lot of these farming communities. Right. Because the farmer cannot go to the farm. The few items in the market, of course, because the law of demand and supply, right, the prices will go up. Presently, are able to cut it off.
Okay, let me get in one more question for you. Go ahead.
Yes. So I wanted to find out if you're like a small-scale farmer, medium-scale, or
we're actually small-scale farmers.
Okay. So far,
it's the small-scale farmers that will feel these things more.
So what would you want, for instance, in addition to the question, what would you want the government to do for small-scale farmers? Aside from the issue of security, what else can government do to support you to also enlarge your capacity as a farmer so that we know that we have more produce coming from you?
Okay, so the issue of farm inputs, because farm inputs, a lot of farm inputs are imported.
Okay.
So by the time the dollar goes up, it affects farming inputs. Some of these farm inputs. So by the time the government is subsidizing on some of these things, it will help the farmer.
Okay. All right.
The issue of farming implements like tractors and all of those things, if the government can provide at a subsidized rate for farmers, it will help to drive the price of food down.
All right. Thank you very much.
Storage is also very important. Because I deal in perishable items, and if I go and harvest and I'm not able to sell all of it, some of them will just go bad.
Exactly.
Storage is very important.
Thank you very much, Christy. We just wanted to hear from a farmer directly, just to know what your challenges and what your experiences are. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Talking about calling for a state of emergency, which actually they have, the vice president had declared a state of emergency on the food crisis, and he has stated specifically, highlighted that they can be fixed in medium, long-term, and short-term strategies. And according to him, the short-term strategy entails revitalizing food supply through specific interventions like distribution of fertilizers and grains to farmers and households to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. It also entails fostering collaboration between the Ministries of Agriculture, water resource for efficient farmland irrigation, ensuring year-round food production, and addressing price volatility by establishing a national commodity board. Now, these are nicely said on paper. It's now how it's been implemented. So the board, which is the board you talked about that was established, would continually assess and regulate food prices, maintaining a strategic food reserve for stabilizing prices of crucial grains and other food items. So there is a plan in place. We're not
Whenever we talk about some, giving fertilizers, there's always mago inside the execution.
So that's the issue.
Always a
policies on the problem.
It doesn't get to the people that really need it. It doesn't. I have many farmer friends around me, and they've been sharing fertilizers since forever. It never reached their place. So obviously, maybe we are not. Maybe we need 50 million fertilizers and we have 10 million to share. Of course, it will not go round. So why don't we find a way to ensure we are dealing with the most important problem that people have? The most important problem that people have right now is the fact that we want to transport our goods and we don't want wastage from storage. So if we are helping with transportation and helping with storage, then we help with security. Those three things will bring majority of the price down. Instead of doing the one of supplying and giving contracts, because you see this fertilizer, you are going to award contract. Somebody will chop money. Distribution will chop money. Let's leave that one.
But how will I get to you?
Because fertilizer will never go round. But if the products that we already have right now gets from the farm gates to the markets in the cities, we will reduce majority of the problem.
Still Nigerians that would have chopped the money that will still help us transfer it from the farm place. So we don't trust them to take fertilizer.
We're not spending money dashing out fertilizers now. We are ensuring that people that have farmed their produce get the money for the produce, and the produce gets to the people that want to buy it at a reasonable rate. So it is the transportation cost right now that everybody is complaining about.
Let me take this call.
Across everybody.
Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live. Francis, I believe.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Kennedy, go ahead, you're live.
I really want to contribute to the discussion we are having now. If you watch the problem we're having in this, it is the state government. There's not like a follow-up to their plans. Like in Texas State, the then governor, James Ibori, built an agricultural setup called Songa in a movement. Immediately after the man left, the following government, they started using it for retreat. And after using it, after squandering the old products, such as the grass cutter and the porcupine, they didn't follow up their patronage. When it was pardoned, they now took their retreat to Calabar. To Calabar, this is open rush. If every problem, and if the water Songa has been a very large agricultural sector that produces all kinds of both livestock, cassava, and the rest. Let the state governors do a follow-up, whatever they have, whatever every other governors has put in place. If this thing is done, we will not have we will not be talking about shortage of food security. Then again, farming is very, very important in this present economy. If you go to, like I said, I'm from Delta State, we can produce cassava. There is a place called Abraka in Ethiopia. If you see a lot of trailers that come from different...
Oh, Kennedy. So the line wasn't clear, but in addition to what the Vice President was saying concerning insecurity, he touched on insecurity. He said, I wish to assure you that we will engage our security architecture to protect the farms and the farmers so that farmers can return to farmlands without fear of attacks. We won't only make it a safe place for farmers to return to their farms, but also ensure that the activation of land banks. Said there are currently 500,000 hectares of already mapped out land that will be used to increase the availability of arable land for farming. So they're even providing more lands for farmers. So when I say we're not bereft of ideas or policies, we are not. Is the implementation from this paper to actualization of it as always a problem.
Exactly. So no matter how fabulous these policies are, if there's insecurity, it would not make any sense. Because first of all, farmers need to be able to get to their farms and do it safely. Then whether we like it or not, I see videos of other countries where they understand, the countries that they understand that agriculture is their mainstay and the sort of investment that is done. How many large-scale farms do we have in this country? So it's good that we have this policy that is saying that we're going to even have more land. Then what? Then how would you support them to make sure that this is sustainable? How would we support them also as Nigerians, for those who are in between government, who are mediators between government and farmers and those in the agricultural sector, that you're not a group of people who are just corrupt and decide to take advantage of policies like that to enrich yourselves at the detriment of the whole of the country. So these are the issues. I have called out governors for lack of ideas, but also I will call out you and I, for those of us that are in the corridors of power, and we put ourselves there because we know how much we can get, and we know that we're doing it at the detriment of Nigerians. That is not fair. But now, going back to government, that is when you catch them, you make a good example of them. You don't let them go scot-free. You don't give them pardons. And because when you do that, you give another person an opportunity to do even worse. The problems we have today is compounded because we have allowed unscrupulous people, dishonest people to get away with bad behavior. Yeah.
Let me go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this issue of insecurity, food scarcity, transportation issues, diesel, high cost in diesel, the whole works. Let me come to you, BC.
Yes, so we have had all these issues in the time past. We have had insecurity. There was a time insecurity was so heavy in one administration that they said the only way we can have peace was to kick out this person. You are not going to do second term because we want peace. And even after the kicking out, the insecurity worsened. So insecurity has always been there, right? But the problem I see now, aside from the fact that insecurity is still there, is the fact that our money is falling and we are largely dependent. That's the cause of all of this crisis now that is trickling down on the food, the transportation, the fuel, the diesel, and all of that. Our money is falling because we are not generating the currency that the world uses. And unfortunately, we're part of the world that insists that that currency is our Lord and our Savior. We are not strong enough to stand by ourselves and say we can build our currency and avoid those things and require us spend. We're spending so much and then we're not generating the currency. And because that currency is in control, everything that you are importing, if you are import dependent that we are, is measured against that currency. Till we sort it out. Whether you put 15,000 soldiers on one farm and all of that, as long as that currency is still beating our currency hands down every day, we'll still have these issues. That's on one hand. Then secondly, I think, aside from having some ideas that we implement, I think in matters of agriculture, we are not expanding our horizon. So I was in Botswana a few years back, I think just before COVID-19, and we had this think tank of different researchers and people into different industries and agriculture. And we're being enlightened on how we can begin to use our debts, our waste, to generate electricity, to do fertilizers, and in fact, when they broke down the value chain we can get from our waste, it's huge. It was interesting, and I was wondering who would be able to do this for us. We have some business people who don't know where to put their money, right? They can go into that. The government can say, okay, let us do a research. These government officials, they travel, they go for think tanks like this. They come back, let us do a research on how we can use, every day we're looking for where to put our debt to. There are dump sites all over the place. And we're planning to even ship our debts to other countries. Why don't we find a way to use that debt to help us get either our electricity or our fertilizers? We are importing fertilizers, and you want the price of things to come down. It's not possible. So the value chain, let me just break this down before you come in. The value chain for agriculture is huge. But most times we focus on one aspect, plant and collect, and we're not looking at other aspects of creating more value from the produce that
just
we
in
have.
response to that,
Yeah.
okay, I was going to say, because the central bank, according to this, I'm just speaking from our vice president, so that a lot of ideas were saying, they're also thinking about it, they've done something about it. So Central Bank of Nigeria will also continue to play a major role in funding agricultural value chain across board. We will deploy concessionary capital to the sector, especially towards fertilizer processing, mechanization, seeds, chemicals, equipment, feed, labor. They don't think everything. So it's one thing.
And I was going to say that the issue with Nigeria is that we find these things that you're talking about, we find them in Nigeria, but we find them in small levels, at small levels. We've been to the prisons now. That's how they generate electricity. When, I think it was you and I, went to the prison, they showed us how they use waste to generate electricity. There are other businesses too that will show you in little ways the way that but we need to scale it. And in order to do it, we need government support. So we now understand that government can give us is able to give us support through policies. So we get that. But we need government support through implementation. We need government support through ensuring that people do not take advantage of the implementation to enrich themselves and allow us to suffer. So government has to come in at different places. I know we always say government can't do anything, but these are the places where we need government. Implementation and making sure that those who are taking advantage of the system are brought to book. Simple and short. And then allow Nigerians, brilliant Nigerians, with big minds to do the best for our country. We keep... The sad thing is, I see hard-working Nigerians at small levels, working so hard, right? And it just seems as if government is not seeing them. It's as if the world is just collaborating to make things hard for them. Why is it that government cannot see people like that? We have big names that are able to approach CBN, approach, you know, we have to create a hub for these smaller names, smaller organizations and business to be able to access government help.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.